Change is quite literally in the air, and each day as we move forward through the coming week, we'll start to see some really big shifts and movement happening in our lives. Now, today's Astro Tarot is pretty telling of that as well. We have the opening card today of the Tower card. This card is associated with Mars, and Mars has been a planet that has been in retrograde since the end of October. Mars is that planet that's like the warrior planet in us, that which calls us to engage and actually go and apply our energy and effort and strategize something in our life. Now, it's been in the sign of Gemini, and wherever that placement of Gemini is in your chart, you've likely been in this period and space of reevaluation as far as how you strategize your effort in that area of your life, particularly in the house that Gemini governs in your natal chart. So the Tower card is uncompromisable change, right? It's people who have built up something in a desire or aspiration to meet some kind of pinnacle goal. The reference, of course, in this card is the Tower of Babel, people who used language as a way to reach the heavens and to access God. But a lightning rod came in and the whole tower crumbled to the ground, and then people were moved to rebuild again and rebuild in a different way. So there's this uncompromisable change that's showing up in our lives. And if you've been in this place of trying to figure out how to strategize it around it, it's almost as if, you know, you've had a few steps back and you're trying to get a different point of view in it. Now consider that Mars goes direct on the 12th. Mercury goes direct on the 17th. And then we have Uranus, which goes direct on the 21st. Uranus has been a planet that has been in retrograde since the end of August or mid-August. And Uranus is also a planet of uncompromisable change in areas of our lives that are preventing us from progressing. And Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus, which is a sign of stability, right? So big changes and big shifts are a bit rattling to the fixed signs such as Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo, because they're fixed in nature. They like stability. But Uranus has been in this area for several years, and it's been creating a lot of unavoidable changes in that area of our lives that Taurus has been sitting in our natal chart. For me, it's in the 9th house. So literally the day that Uranus went into Taurus, I was teaching at the herbalism school that I went to school at for a couple of years. So it engaged this like initiating force in me being a teacher in my life. Now, what's interesting is that Uranus has been in retrograde since August, right? And it's going to move direct. Now, once Uranus moves direct, we will have every single planet in our sky moving direct. So if you felt this hesitancy, consider that everything is starting to stack up for there to be movement, and it's a movement that you'll be supported by in the universe. So if there's been something that you kind of had on the back burner and you know that you need to do it, you're going to feel that call to start applying your energy to it. And a lot of it is because of this re-strategizing that we've been doing with Mars and the planet of Uranus. Now, this is our opening card, right? Uncompromisable change, big movements. This is likely going to be the year where there's an up-leveling in your life or a big shift in your life because of these big changes that we are all experiencing. Now, the challenge that we have coming in for today is the Justice card. So this is someone who has to weigh all of the information, take account of everything that's on the table, and make a decision with that in mind. Now, when we consider that the Justice card is governed by the sign of Libra, right now we have planets that are in Aries. We have Jupiter in Aries, and we have Chiron in Aries. Then we have, of course, Pluto over in Capricorn. which is another cardinal sign. Then we've had the moon in Cancer yesterday, which is another cardinal sign. It's these 3 points which point at the other anchor, which is Libra, which is relationships and contractual relationships and business partnerships, one-on-one contractual relationships. So there's some challenge or some difficulty in this space in our lives that we've had to work with and that we've been examining, and it's been giving us some kind of friction or challenge in our lives. Now, the way that we move through that is by way of the Judgment Card. The Judgment Card is associated with Pluto and transformation, and we see these figures literally being rebirthed out of what looks like coffins. So there is this resolution, this insight that comes in almost as if it's like an epiphany you've known, but you can't like cloak it with the invisibility cloak anymore. Once it's seen, it can't be unseen. And it's a calling to a new facet of your life, a calling to a new experience, because everything that you have certainty around, that you have experienced, it's not, you know, everything. There's things outside of it to be explored, which is what we are being called to through this rebirthing and resurrection process by way of the influence of Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, which it's been in since 2008, 2009, creating this transformation around what our life path is, how we, you know, are in the world and our legacy that we want to leave behind, and what is our goal that we ultimately want to attain in this lifetime, right? We have to hold that in our range of view as we're measuring all these things so that we can actually figure out how we want to apply our energy and effort in this life and actually realize those things that we've had as just a thought or a wish or a little seed in our hearts. Now, the ultimate outcome that we have for today is the Eight of Swords, and it was clarified by the Three of Pentacles. And this, my friends, is what really calls me to these movements that we have going on with the planets right now by way of the retrogrades and where we see things that are going to be moving in forward motion again. Because we have, you know, this person who is surrounded by all these swords, right? They are bound with like a rope or a cloth of some sort, and then they're also blindfolded. So there's this space of, you know, wanting to get out of a situation, but the energy and effort that you're doing, that you're exerting to do so, isn't helping, right? This is a situation that's really more of a matter of time. And so it's a message of allowing time to pass so that those limitations are released through the inner web of time. Because you consider that we also have Mercury retrograde right now, and Mercury is the planet that governs the mind and governs communication. And if we're up in our heads strategizing, right, which is interesting because Mercury governs the sign of Gemini, and we have Mars in that sign of Gemini. So that means that Mercury has some relationship with Mars because it's the ruler of the house that Mars is in. So there's this almost like mental imprisonment in some ways of feeling like our efforts aren't doing much or we're not getting much fruit out of our efforts. And what I want to encourage you to consider is that this is an alignment with what's going on with the planets. We are going to have this week, we are going to have Mars and Mercury. First, it's going to be Mars this week moving direct. Then it's going to be Mercury. And then on the 21st, it's going to be Uranus. So we're going to have all of this movement that is going to shift the space that this person is in. And then when that movement comes through, we have the master craftsman who is ultimately making his vision come to form and come to life. And so this is the process that we're all working on. And I want to, you know, share this. And of course, I share these readings as a way of encouraging people to, you know, not so much shake their fist at the sky, but to realize that the movements that are going on in our star system are creating change in our lives for us to actually level up our lives and become the best version of ourselves. And so wherever this, you know, Gemini placement is in your natal chart is where you're likely going to feel a lot of movement. And also wherever you have Taurus, because we, you know, have the North Node up in Taurus along with Uranus, and we have these big anchors that are going to be moving forward by our visual sense, you know, this month. And so a lot of the areas in our lives that we've felt just were stagnant are going to get that energetic boost too. So I would guess and presume that by the end of this month, you will likely have a much clearer idea of where you're going to put your energy and effort this year, especially if you've been in this place of strategizing where to put your energy and where to put your resources, especially with all the chaos and things that are going on in the world. Just take a breath, you know, and give yourself this space to observe and be in life and trust that there's going to be movement here in the coming weeks. I hope you all are well. I've been, you know, it's weird. It's like since I moved to these weekly readings, the weeks seem so long, and I miss you guys, and I miss giving you the readings, and I miss interacting with people based on the cards that were chosen for the day. And it just feels like it's so much longer than 7 days sometimes. So I've been just, you know, thinking about that, and if I want to go to, you know, creating them twice a week, you know, maybe on Wednesday and Saturday rather than just Saturday, and offer people a midweek kind of astrology snapshot with Tarot. So let me know if that would be useful for you and if you would appreciate it, and I will share. I hope you all are well. I send you a good wish, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.